Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Print Pros. If you haven't heard already, Ricoma has come out with a brand new product line of, drumroll please, vinyl cutters, which is also referred to as plotters. Now I'm super excited about this since vinyl cutting is a great introductory method for new apparel decorators since it's easy to do and inexpensive compared to other methods out there. If you want to check out the two new cutters that we're offering, visit shop.ricoma.com or you can check it out in the link in the description below. Aside from that news, this month is a special month because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Especially during this month, decorators do their part to spread awareness for this very important cause. Some by selling apparel and donating the proceeds, and some by creating apparel from various charity events, walks, and runs. So in today's episode, I'm going to show you how you can create your own breast cancer awareness t-shirt with the heat transfer vinyl method using our newest RCP 3301 13-inch craft mini vinyl cutter and a Ricoma heat press. I promise you, this isn't an episode that you would want to miss. For this project, I'm using the RCP 3301 13-inch craft mini vinyl cutter and a 16x20 Ricoma flat heat press. Aside from the 13-inch cutter, we also have a more commercial 25-inch cutter if you're working with larger designs, which I'll be sure to show you in future episodes. In fact, both of our vinyl cutters come in two packages, one with a heat press and one without. So if you purchase the package with the heat press, then you'll have all the equipment that you need to get started. Both packages also come with a SignMaster Craft Software, an A3 cutting mat, a blade holder, 3 blades, a pen holder, a small Allen wrench, an extra spring, power cable, a USB cable, and a USB drive. Now to check these machines out, make sure you visit shop.ricoma.com or just simply click on the link on the description below. Alright, so now let's talk about the materials that we're going to be using for this project. On my right, I have my Teflon sheet. Next to that, I have my picker to weed out the extra vinyl. Then I have my actual vinyl that's going to get cut. And then I have my transfer paper because this vinyl will get cut in front of the design instead of in the back. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is go on the software, and then I'm going to make sure that I trace the design, erase the parts that I don't need, and then we're going to go ahead and transfer it onto the cutter. Alright, so let's go ahead and let me show you exactly how to do that. Alright, so this is the software that I'm going to be using for this project. This is the SignMaster Craft, and it comes totally free when you purchase your machine. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab my design. I have it here saved, is Find a Cure, and now we're just going to go ahead and drag it and drop it over to our canvas. Now what I'm going to do here is very simple. It's just going up to the apple, selecting it, and create the cut contour. So now just go ahead and press yes because it's going to auto trace it. And to really make sure that I'm grabbing what I need to get out of this image, I'm going to go down here to composite. And now as you can see here, we have the red, which is the background, which we don't need, and the blue, which is what we're going to be using. So what I have to do here is just basically select trace. And as you can see, there's some things that are missing, like the I and the inside of the D and the inside of the R. Now we won't be using the top part for this part of the design, but we are going to be using the R, and we need the inside of the R to get traced and to get cut out. So I'm going to go over to the minimum size and I'm going to bring it down. Now as you can see, we have a hole that's created into the R. Perfect. Now all we have to do is press apply and accept. And now I'm going to delete the background. So let's drag this part out, delete the actual design, and now let's go ahead and resize it. So the size that I'm going to be using for this one is going to be a 9 on width. So let's go over here and put 9. And I'm going to rotate it. Now what I have to do is delete the part that I'm not going to be using. So let's go over to the design, and now we're going to go over to the curve and shape editing tool, select it, and select eraser. Now we're going to erase the part that we're not going to be using. Alright, now we're pretty much set up. All I have to do now is set up my cutter and my vinyl, and then we're set to cut. All right, so let's go ahead and grab the vinyl and let's feed it to the machine. Now, I'm going to be cutting this vinyl with the design facing the top. There's some vinyls that you would do the opposite and you would have to mirror your design. In this case, we don't have to do that, but we are going to be using a transfer to be able to put it onto the shirt. So let's go ahead and feed it. Very simple. We're just going to go from the back to the front. Now, you could do this from the front also, but for video purposes, I'm showing you like this. So let's go ahead and just place it in the middle. Make sure the rollers are right in the middle where they have to be. Let's go ahead and lock it in. All right, so now what I'm going to do is set the center of the blade onto the vinyl. Basically like an X and Y axis, but I'm going to set that up first manually and then I'm going to save those settings. So the way to do that is very simple. We're going to use the arrow keys to move the blade. Now we want to be over more on the left than the right because it's basically going to read the design going towards the right. So I want the blade to start on the left, okay? So on the left of the vinyl, I don't want to go over my rollers because then the vinyl will bend and potentially have the design, you know, kind of mess up and not do as well as you need it to do. So let's go ahead and put the blade right in front of the first roller on the left. Let's go ahead and press the plus sign so we can save this setting. And as you can see, now it turned to 0. All right, so now that we have our cutter set up and the vinyl inside, what I'm gonna do right now is basically a trace to make sure that the blade doesn't go off the vinyl and then we won't have the perfect design. So to do that is very simple. We're gonna go over to the software and we're gonna go over to the blade tool. We're gonna go ahead and select it. And we're gonna go down here where it says area test. So in the area test, we're gonna go ahead and select it. And now we're going to press yes for send area test. So once we do that, we're gonna go ahead and move over to our cutter and take a look at the blade. Perfect, we're all set and ready to roll. So let's go ahead and press cut now. And it's gonna ask us if we want to proceed with the cutting. Just go ahead and press yes or enter. And the machine will start doing its thing. All right, so the machine is done cutting. All we have to do is just bring it out and do the fun part, which is weeding out the vinyl. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna sit down and I want you guys to see exactly how I do it. I'm gonna be using my little picker tool, and this is, I definitely recommend this. It's gonna save you a lot of time. Okay, so now we have our vinyl here already cut. The next thing we have to do is weed out the rest of the vinyl that we're not going to be using. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make my job a little easier and just trim around the design. All right, so now I'm gonna grab my picking tool and I'm gonna start picking out the excess vinyl. All right, let's go ahead and start over here. We'll start in this corner. All right, and there we have it. We have all the excess vinyl out, and this is actually looking real nice. I think they're really gonna like this. So since our design has black letters, I brought some black vinyl that I'm gonna be using. Now the only difference is that this vinyl needs to be cut from the back, and on the software, we're going to be mirroring the design. All right, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is hop onto the software and start tracing my design. All right, so let's go ahead and grab the design. It's exactly the same design, so I'm just gonna go ahead and drag it. And I'm gonna drop it, basically do the same exact thing. Now let's go ahead and trace it. Let's make sure we are tracing everything we need. So let's go ahead and bring down the minimum size. Press apply and accept. Now we're gonna do pretty much the same thing. Let's go ahead and delete the background. And let's make sure that the size is 9 inches on the width. Lastly, let's go ahead and rotate our design. All right, now we're gonna be deleting the parts that we don't need. So in this case, let's go ahead and delete everything but the black letters. All right, so now that we have this set up, let's go ahead and jump over to our cutter and let's feed the vinyl. Now remember, we're gonna be feeding this upside down. So the part where you see the most color is gonna go facing down. So feeding is exactly the same thing. We're just gonna go ahead and make sure that our rollers are open, and then we're gonna place it in the position where we want it, and then close up the rollers again. All right, so now let's go ahead and go to the area test. And now let's see if the blade doesn't get off of the vinyl. Okay, I feel like I can maybe move the blade a little bit over towards the right so it won't be so close. And a little bit outside. Let's go ahead and save that position. Let's go back to area test. Perfect. All right, so that's perfect. Let's go ahead and cut this out. All right guys, so I've already cut around my design. Let's go ahead and start weeding. Okay, so I'm done weeding out the black vinyl. Now for this vinyl here, we have to use a transfer paper because remember, this one cuts on top. So let's use the transfer paper, let's transfer it over so like that we can put it on the shirt. So we're gonna grab this, we're going to separate one. So now this part here, you could reuse it afterwards. You don't need it right now. All we need is the transparent paper. All right, so we're gonna grab the design that we need to be able to put in here. We're just gonna place it right on top. All right, let's go ahead and make sure it's all nice and squeezed so that once we take out this, this other paper, then we have the transfer holding on to the design. All right, so just go ahead and make sure that you're squeezing any air bubbles out and just making sure that the transfer paper is actually holding on to the design itself, to the vinyl. And now let's peel out the piece that we don't need, which is what's in the back. And now I'm going to be peeling it off smoothly, making sure that my vinyl stays on the transfer paper. As you can see, there's some areas that you could kind of see it coming out. So make sure you put it back to where it needs to be. All right, this part here could be a little tedious, but it's definitely worth it once you have it. All right, so now that we have the vinyl on the transfer paper, let's grab a shirt and put it on the heat press so we can preheat it for about 10 seconds so all the moisture can come out and the vinyl could adhere nicely to the shirt. All right, I have my shirt right here. Let's go ahead and bring the bottom platen out. Let's take the Teflon sheet off the bottom platen. Let's put our shirt right on top. So we have the shirt on the heat press. Let's go ahead and put the Teflon sheet on top. We're gonna put it to 270 degrees Fahrenheit for just 10 seconds so that all the moisture can come out. So let's go ahead and put it inside, close it down, 270 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 seconds. All right, so now we have a shirt that has no wrinkles and no moisture. Now we're ready to put the vinyl on the shirt. So since I'm going to be putting both vinyls in there at once, I'm gonna make sure that I have this where it needs to be first. So since this is a transfer paper, you can simply just put it right on top. So let me go ahead and do that now. Okay, so now that I put both designs together, we're ready to put it on the shirt. So this is kind of a difficult angle that I'm on, so I'm gonna do my best. About 4 fingers from the collar. So we have it centered. Let's grab our Teflon sheet. Let's put it right on top. Let's close this up. And it's going to be, for now, another 10 seconds at 270 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's gonna be it. This is gonna be a hot peel, so as soon as it comes out, we're ready to just peel it off. All right, let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and peel this off. Ooh-wee. So that's it, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed our first ever vinyl tutorial as much as I did. Trust me, there are plenty more to come because the possibilities are almost endless with this type of decoration method. Again, if you want to check out our newest vinyl cutters, the 13-inch Craft Mini and the 25-inch commercial model, then visit shop.ricoma.com or click the link on the description below. And if you have any cool ideas using vinyl that you want to see, let us know in the comments below to give us some inspiration for future episodes. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up. For more content just like this on anything apparel related, from vinyl to heat transfers, direct-to-garment printing, and even embroidery, make sure you follow us on our Facebook in our group Embroidery and Custom Apparel Mastery. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube of course, and even TikTok. That's it for today. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.